All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I have another quickie for you guys. Shout out to Market Gains, fair use. I just wanted to go over this video real quick because I myself used to want to be a tech bro back in 2010. I'm glad I didn't take that route. But I mean, anything could shut down or close. Let's not get, too cocky above our heads for what we do for a living. But anything could close. Just remember that. But anyways, our favorite tech giant Meta, which owns both Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp, and a few others, are starting to do another round of layoffs again. And mind you, when you work in these sectors, these are your frequent job hoppers. I mean, I really don't feel bad for people that lose their jobs in the tech space anyway because they're job hoppers. Like they'll work 3 or 4 different jobs every year. So with a little e-commerce on the side. So it's like they always rebound. They're like roaches. They're going to just expand out somewhere else. But anyway, let's get into it real quick.
This is a big surprise. I wasn't expecting Meta to dump this many office spaces all at once, but here we are as the tech giant Meta is dumping 3 enormous Bay Area offices and they're completely done. So Meta is led by Mark Zuckerberg, and you definitely have used Meta products from the Oculus to Instagram to Facebook Marketplace. It's all owned by Meta. So when you have massive closures of office space, guess what happens? You have a lot of people being fired and more people being laid off. For all the people out there who want to know if Meta is doing upcoming layoffs, it's so easy, okay? Usually companies dump office space and then after 1 to 3 months, they start firing workers.
I mean, really, it's no surprise because you have to remember large companies, if they're leasing a lot of buildings, a lot of times most companies, they don't own the buildings that they're in. So you have to remember they spend a lot of money to lease these buildings. So the goal is to cut costs as much as they can because not only are they paying rent, but the electricity. See, when you have I'm sorry, everybody's not in the Bay Area, so I'm not going to talk about PG&E as much, but the utilities. They're twice as much in business, in corporate settings, office workspaces, versus residential. Residential utilities are cheaper than business utility charges. Just to keep that in mind. And then you have the AC and heat running all day, the heat pumps. That doesn't really help. But a lot of these buildings, they have solar now, so it helps and then it doesn't.
Because what do offices hold? They hold people. And when you have less offices, you typically have less people. Nearly 200,000 square foot of closures were reported by the San Francisco Standard. And if you look into the Meta spokesperson, they basically are just taking numerous steps back. Meta wrote that it finished 2024 with 11 million square footage of office and building space in the Bay Area, 2 million square foot was unoccupied space, and it plans to cut loose and close them as part of a consolidation effect. So we're clearly seeing some of the biggest companies in the world just cutting down office space. And guys, it's not just Meta. Google's doing it. Google not only has spent over $500 million closing office space, but they've also spent a lot of money canceling upcoming office construction projects. And Meta is already doing massive controversial moves, as Meta basically fired about 4,000 people this year. And many people who are working for some of the biggest companies in America are feeling the pressure. As if you look into some of the recent data, almost 50,000 people in the US have been laid off from their jobs this year.
Okay, is that just in the tech sector or is that just worldwide? I mean, anybody could face a job layoff. But the question is, how do you rebound from that? Some people are in industries where it'll be harder for them to find a similar job, but a lot of these tech people have college degrees, so it's easier for them to find other jobs. It'll probably be hard for them to make the same amount of money. Like they might go from working for a tech giant down to a private sector type job.
Here, and this includes a lot of the banking jobs and finance jobs, and also the tech jobs. And when you also include the federal layoffs, it's numbering close to 300,000 people in the federal sector. The private sector is also getting pretty bad, and the amount of people trying to hunt for a job is higher than ever before. If you want to also check out how Meta is dumping office space, they've been doing it since 2023, as Meta dumped one of the biggest offices in San Francisco, 181 Fremont, this beautiful, enormous skyscraper. They dumped about 430 400,000 square footage of office space, which is basically the bottom half of this.
I mean, look how nice and luxe these office spaces are. I mean, to be honest with you, when I used to want to work for these companies, I only wanted to go for the free lunch, free gym, and free lattes. That's why a lot of you guys are snobs that work these jobs. You guys are so picky about how your lattes are crafted and everything, coffee, whatever you drink, matcha. It's just funny. It's like a matcha latte culture type environment.
Enormous skyscraper. So you have entire skyscrapers now being dumped, and also massive amounts of office space in the Fremont district being subleased out. We're clearly seeing Meta.
And see, the thing is, you got to remember, when you have a whole corporation exit a building, I doubt that they're going to tear these buildings down because they were so expensive to build and they're so nice. So why let it go to waste when you could turn them into apartments? That's what they were doing during the middle of the COVID shutdown. They knew that a lot of those companies weren't coming back to the building, so they just decided to turn them into luxury apartments. The building was luxury to begin with. They could just now turn them into units and rent them out and pay off the remaining cost of the building that it cost to begin with. It's not a bad idea. I mean, look at all the homeless people around San Francisco. Are they too nice to be for the homeless?
And several other companies consolidating. Who else will dump 2 million square footage of space? Who else will close 3 massive Bay Area offices in just a single week? Only Meta. They know that having this much office space is actually pretty detrimental. So it's actually pretty smart to close them down. Even in September of 2023, they've already spent close to $200 million exiting leases on offices. And just like Google, these guys are spending hundreds of millions of dollars in subleasing their units out and basically selling at buildings at a loss or canceling leases. It is a very expensive thing because most of the time when these big corporations sign a lease, it's for like 5, 10, even 15, 20 years. So when you want to cancel that lease,
Woo! Am I hearing this right?
you're going to be paying a massive penalty, which many times these companies are worth paying. When you pay such a fat penalty, guess what? You're probably not going to open offices anytime soon, and layoffs are going to start. As in 2022, Meta actually fired 11,000 people. 2023, 10,000 more. 2024, a few thousand here and there, and we're kickstarting off 2025 with almost 4,000 people.
Ooh-wee. Man, it's just a headache listening to that. But check this out. They'll pay the penalty, an expensive penalty to break that lease, but you have to remember, that's less money that they're spending on utilities. So they'll make that money back real quick, especially with all the paid ads and everything. That loss is nothing to them. That penalty is nothing to them, even though it doesn't look good. I mean, we've all broke leases and contracts before. Sometimes it can come back to you. You get sued. That's the downfall, though. It might hurt you in the long run, but life is all about taking chances, right? So, with that being said, a lot of the positions that they're hiring for you to work in the office, most of that work could be done at home if most of it's on the computer, right? That's crazy, though. Wow.
Being laid off. But one of the things with Meta that you need to know is the stock market is terrible. Meta stock right now is down 28%. At one point, it was down almost 32%. It's because Trump is playing one of the biggest tariff wars ever. If you look into Meta stock, it's doing horrendously in the past few months. The tariff war is putting pressure on companies as the
I don't even check my stocks anymore because I know everything is shit right now. So it didn't really go up much.
price of goods have increased. Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, basically said that they will not be cutting interest rates and there will be more expensive loans, which is causing many companies like Meta to stop expanding their companies. It's very different from during the pandemic, where companies like Meta were using cheap loans by the government to expand their companies and basically hire people. But now in the age of expensive loans and even more expensive, items and very, very high inflation, Meta is basically shrinking down. They want to cut back on office space. They want to get rid of this office space. And the scary part is many employees are now being fired.
Wow. I just can't imagine though. This really sucks though. I guess this is why they're telling everybody not to buy new cars. Just imagine buying a new truck and the next day you get that Zoom call or email talking about you're being laid off. You're like, but I just bought this new luxury apartment and this new truck. So we don't care. Wow. I hope they get some kind of exit package though. That's crazy. And then mind you, most of the people that face these layoffs didn't work long enough at the company for a pension. A lot of companies don't even offer pensions anymore. So I'm hoping these guys could live off their investments because, I don't know, it's just not looking good. And then let's not even talk into having medical insurance. That's another big thing. I don't know how good of benefits the medical are with these major companies. I'm sure it's good enough, but once you lose the opportunity to work with these employers, there goes your medical. Back to Medi-Cal. This is Kai LaVale. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And in case you hate my talking, I'll leave the regular original video in the description. Peace.